Hello, so I want to talk today about Okinawa longevity, the best of the blue zones. So we all know what a blue zone is. A blue zone is an area in the world where people live on average longer than they do everywhere else in the world. So um, Okinawa has been long since known as the island of the immortals. So it is where people live the longest of any people in the world. For 100 years, it has been known as this land of the immortals. The typical life expectancy in Okinawa is 86 years old, and it has 4 times more centenarians than anywhere else on Earth. So let's have a little discussion about why potentially that is. So here are their stats. They have a reduced stroke rate, less than 25% the average levels across the world. Very low rates of cancer, particularly hormone cancers like breast and prostate. A fraction of the rate of diabetes in comparison to the US, 1/5 of the rate of heart disease, and very little dementia. So exercise is important. These people are very, very active. First of all, they sit on the floor. So they don't sit on chairs like I am now. So they're getting up from the floor all day long. So they're effectively doing many thousands of squats per day. They also, every day they work. They basically go work in their little gardens, in the allotments, the communal allotments. They do a lot of low-level manual work. Karate is obviously a very large part of their lifestyle too. So these people have better lower body strength and balance in older age than we do in the West. Talking about the West, one of the reasons that we have so many hip fractures, which can prove to be fatal in older life, is because we have this reduced strength and balance in older age. So it's important. Their diet, well, it's traditionally low in fat. It's high in calcium. They eat lean meats, if they eat meats at all, lots of vegetables, high in carbohydrate and fiber, but low in protein. It's the opposite of the Atkins, which is interesting. Lots of dark vegetables, and of course, it's fish because it's a fishing community. So what are they eating? Well, 1 to 2% of their diet is made up of meat, eggs, and fish. Less than 1% dairy, 6% legumes, 12% rice, but it's whole grain rice. And then we've got this purple sweet potato, Beni Imo it's called, 67%. Lots of seaweed, mugwort, which has got anti-inflammatory properties, all the way down to tofu and soya. But it's a variety of food that they're eating. All of them are fresh, vegetable-based diet foods. Okay, so Beni Imo. So very interesting. It's very high in carbohydrate. It's this little purple potato-looking thing down in the left-hand corner, but it's got 150% more antioxidants than blueberries. So it's absolutely stuffed full of antioxidants, and you can buy it in the UK. You have to shop around for it, but it's a good thing to look into. So how much are they eating? Well, in the USA, the FDA recommends 2,000 calories to 2,500 calories per day per person, but they're actually consuming 3,600 calories per day on average, and that's why we have such an obesity problem. In Okinawa, though, people only eat roughly 2,000 calories because they have this traditional saying called Hari Hachibu, which means basically you stop eating when you're 80% full. Now that's interesting because how many times, and I've done this myself, got to hold my hands up to this, have you told your children when they're young, you're not getting down from the table until you finish that plate of food? And we do it all the time. So we're actually setting our children up to overeat, which is not a good thing. Social life. So in Okinawa, older generations tend to be the vital part of the family life. They have a strong sense of community and they're at a low level of depression. Women tend to be the spiritual leaders and they tend to focus on having fun. They're easygoing, forgive easily, they laugh a lot, and they are very positive. Whereas if we compare that to the Western style retirement home, it's not such a great picture. And we know that loneliness can reduce life expectancy by up to 15 years, which is quite horrifying. So what about retirement? Well, it's quite simple. In Okinawa and blue zones generally, They don't retire. They continue low-level manual work, whether it's in the allotment or in the family business, but they continue. They have a sense of purpose. They're focused on something, and they come up with this saying that the elder people, they count, and we need you. We need your experience, which is again something that doesn't happen so much in the West. So how are things changing? Well, things are changing, sadly, because as you can see from the picture on the right, that the islands are populated by American Air Force bases, and therefore a Western lifestyle has seeped its way into Okinawa's towns and cities, and therefore they're eating that way, they're smoking that way, they're drinking more alcohol, and therefore all the problems that come with it have come along too. So the lung cancer, obesity rates are up, diabetes is up, etc., etc. So life expectancy is dropping. So it is a proof, if you like, that this traditional Western style of eating fast food and fat food is basically reducing our life expectancy. Interesting thoughts.